Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I don't feel I'm ready for this, but I'm going to do it anyway at 7:11. My own unanswered questions about Swissindo. My cousin's rebuttal to my video of 25 March hit hard. As usual, I go into deep contemplation at times when I am challenged like this. As I thought about it, I came to admit to myself that there are still unanswered questions I have that have not been answered. I asked Peter Van Runt to make another video with me, having sent him her rebuttal. He agreed to make another video and added about her rebuttal, there are some valid points in it and questions that will be asked for sure. I'd also like to do another video with Karen Collins and one with Rena Iliades, too. I hope I said your name right, Rena. All three were in Indonesia for the signing. Anyway, I'm going to share my own questions and concerns along with some of the temporary conclusions I've reached. And I include the Facebook link to my cousin's rebuttal for those of you on YouTube that don't go on Facebook. Well, don't have a Facebook account. Hopefully the link will work. It's the most current one that I have just 10 or 15 minutes ago. Anyway, I don't hardly know where to begin. You wouldn't believe how many thoughts have been going through my head since I got this video. And this video, of course, is for the 27th of March. My family has never stood by me for a long, long, long time. This cousin in particular is another outcast from certain members of the family for different reasons than I have been. And I was excited when the bond was initially formed between us. I was really excited that one of my family members seemed to be at least talking with me, and she still communicates. This is a communication, her rebuttal. But it's not supportive. When I was with Rusa, she sided with the opposition. Now that I'm with Swissindo, she sides with the opposition. I don't get support. I don't feel I get support from any of my blood relatives. Now my children, I was thinking about that as I was meditating earlier this morning. My children listen to me, and they don't argue with me or rebut me on these things. I don't get the idea that they actually believe it. And I have for a long time, as I've said many, many times in many, many videos, I've wanted to find the solution to getting the kingdom of heaven manifested on earth, because I've always felt, since I was a teenager at least, that was my mission, to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. Whatever that meant, it's meant different things to me at different times, but I've defined it more recently as a world that works for everybody, because I've come to realize how corrupt and evil the present world is. It is horrible. It's a terrible world. And I know a lot of you say, well, look at all the beauty. Yeah, there's beauty in it, but it's corrupt beyond measure. Anyway, I guess I need to give up on the idea of ever having family, or even close friends for that matter, totally support me in what to them seem like insane ideas. Because I have looked for a group of people that I feel actually have the potential of creating what my dream is, a world that works for everybody. And I naturally gravitate toward anything that I feel might be the solution, might be the answer. So that's either a strength or a weakness. And I believe that because my heart is pure, and that's really what I want before God, that is my desire, to see everyone set free. And I would believe that God would lead me to people and things that would help accomplish my dream, my desire, my intent, my purpose, my mission. Not lead me to things that would be destructive. Now, I said that I would deal with some of my own unanswered questions about Swissindo. The biggest criticism that I had at the beginning and that I've heard over and over and over again, if this guy, Mr. Sino, Mr. Sugi, has such wealth that he has at his disposal, why the heck doesn't he get translators that can speak in plain English? Well, I've had the same complaint about Heather's material. Why can't it be written in plain English so that people can understand it? I have the same complaint about that guy that talks about syntax grammar and the proper way to work. I mean, the way that he would write something isn't plain English. And they say, well, plain English is it's casting a spell. It's what keeps us in bondage. So plain English isn't important. Well, I don't buy all that. Plain English, if you want people to understand, if you want to be transparent, you do speak in plain English. And English is the commercial language of the world. It is the international language. And as my cousin pointed out, or somebody pointed out, and by the way, she said she never said anything about Agenda 21. That's true. And I realized that afterwards. I had gotten 2 emails, hers, or two things at around the same time. Hers, which didn't mention Agenda 21, and another one that claimed it was just Agenda 21. And I got them together in my head when I made the previous video 2 days for the 25th. And I lost my train of thought. That doesn't happen a lot. It does happen occasionally. In any case, I mixed those 2 up. She didn't mention Agenda 21. But I've often wondered, and I've had some of my friends, why, if he has all this money, why can't he get someone that can put it in English that is easy to understand? Because when you cloak it in veiled language like Heather does her stuff, and as people perceive Mr. Sino's material and the Swissindo material, it's perceived as trying to hide something. And that's a just criticism in my mind. It's a just criticism. It needs to be done in really clear, plain, well-written English so that people that are educated in the world can understand it. That's important. Now, when I saw the diplomatic immunity papers that were provided to Pieta Morgan, when I first saw them, some things jumped out at me. The same things that Jackie mentions, and one thing that she didn't even mention. The one thing, the name was all capital letters. Damn, it's a straw man. He's not dealing with human beings, he's dealing with straw men. It jumped right out at me. And then I got my own diplomatic immunity papers, and sure enough, mine was the same thing. The straw man has diplomatic immunity. Well, the straw man isn't even real. So why would you give straw man diplomatic immunity? I want diplomatic immunity for me so that the criminal government doesn't have the power, except they don't. I mean, even diplomats, if they want to kill him, even heads of state, if they want to kill him, they kill him anyway. But a level of protection is what was concerned to me in my battle to protect my house. So diplomatic immunity meant something to me. It didn't mean that I could break law and get away with it. I don't break laws to the best of my ability anyway. I try to obey the rules of the road. Not that I perfectly obey all the speed limits, but I try to stay within 5 miles an hour of the speed limit, because that's what I think is the reasonable thing to do. In any case, straw man jumped right out at me. As I rationalized and meditated and contemplated what this meant, I came for myself to the conclusion that, hey, he's liberating even our straw man. That's a good thing. But it was a red light. It was a warning sign, a red flag when I first saw it. Lots of other things have been red flags. And I don't get clear answers from anybody. I don't know that anybody gets clear answers from anybody. I don't know if they're capable of giving clear answers. And so all that I can do is go inside and find an answer that I can resonate with. One that makes sense to me and helps me to see what I hope is the bigger picture. Do I know that? No, I don't. Now, I posted on Facebook and on Mr. Aprianto's wall 2 questions that have come to me several times. And by the way, I get lots of mail and a lot of criticism for my involvement in Swissindo. So I feel like I have to at least give explanations, because people's concerns and criticisms need to be addressed. I believe they do. I believe that's my job, to help address them, which is why I do what I do. But in any case, these 2 questions came up, that somehow Swissindo has granted immunity to the cabal, basically, so that they would not have to face any prosecution for their actions. And number 2, that certain secrets would remain secrets and sealed forever, and they would not allow certain things out. And I think they're talking about patents on things like free energy and stuff like that. If either of those were valid and true, I would say to Swissindo, kiss my ass, and I'd be gone. Because that is not what the delegation has been putting forth. There needs to be full, transparent accountability by every human being, period, every human being. And all of the technologies and the creativity that have come down needs to be released. There can't be any prevention of Tesla patents from being implemented and other patents of healing devices and stuff like that. The cabal is dead if the delegates get their way. The cabal will ultimately die. Because we're all, Mr. Sino gathered a group of people that are freedom fighters. People that have stood up to the system again and again in many different ways. People that want to do the best for the human race. And that is not a cabal plan. Now, one of the things that's strange is people that claim Swissindo is the Illuminati's plan. It doesn't make sense to me. If it's the Illuminati's plan, why is there so much difficulty in implementing it? Why don't they just let it go? Why do they plant people within the delegation that subvert the delegation itself, or try to, and create all sorts of problems, always creating friction, always creating turmoil? There's people in the delegation still that are like that. Still. Not just Pieta Morgan, and I'm not going to name people, but there are people that all they do, everything that they touch, creates controversy. Everything. Why? Who would go to all the trouble to do this if it was the plan of the Illuminati? Wouldn't they want it to work and roll it out? Or they want to make it appear like it's difficult? I don't know the answer, but it doesn't make sense to me. Lots of things don't make sense to me. And like everybody else in the world, show me. All we have so far is words and paper and signatures on paper. None of that means a damn thing. None of it. It doesn't mean anything till it's actually implemented. And the rollout of the release of funds to the world is not going to resolve any issue as long as the cabal maintains any kind of control anywhere on the planet. Anywhere on the planet. The Rothschilds have to be dealt with. The Rockefellers have to be dealt with. And all of their minions, the inside circle that they surround themselves with to implement their programs, they need to be dealt with and dealt with firmly. I don't mean they have to be killed or anything like that, though they've killed millions of people and been responsible for the death and the slaughter of many innocent children and women, and don't get me into it. They are the most horrific people this planet has ever known. And if they have fallen angels or archons or whatever you want to call them, demons, they need to be dealt with too, at whatever level they exist at. Because the earth needs to be cleaned up. And that's been my intent all along. That's what I mean by a world that works for everyone. And I want Swissindo to succeed because it is still, in my mind, the best plan I've seen yet to actually provide the means and the bridge. And Jackie said, people that want bridges are afraid to fly and don't want to get their feet wet. No, I want continuity between where we've been and where we're going. I want a bridge, because a bridge is the only thing that makes sense to me. If that's insane, that's insane, but I don't see it as insane. I think it's insane to think we can leap into another dimension and just get out of this one and escape. I don't believe that. I used to think that that was true, that was what the rapture was all about. Just dying and going to heaven, or being translated into another realm. What good does that do? What good does that do when there's no transformation of the problem, when there's no resolution of the problems? It doesn't do any good to just go and start another world somewhere else and leave behind everybody else. I don't even want to leave behind the Illuminati. Do you get it? Have you not heard me? I don't want to leave anybody behind. Because the good shepherd goes after the 1% and leaves the 99% and tries to save the 1% that's lost. Did you not get that message? I did. I do the best I can. I don't have all the answers. I don't get many questions answered, even by Swissindo people from Indonesia. I don't get it. And I don't think a lot of the other delegates get answers either. Specific questions remain unanswered. And I don't have the answers. I come up with them as best I can. Am I concerned about all of the negative stuff that people throw at Swissindo? Yes, I am. That's why I take time to try to deal with them to the best of my ability. Can I answer them all? No, I can't. I do the best I can. But I want something to work that will change the world. I want change that I can believe in and that everybody else can believe in, because it's substantial, because it's reality, because it's our experience. Not promises, not dreams, not wild imaginations, but on the ground reality that allows us to be fulfilled as human beings and allows us to complete the task of bringing heaven to earth and creating a world of peace and prosperity where there is truth and justice for all and nobody escapes. And you don't need diplomatic immunity, and you don't need even eventually you don't need rulers. You don't need rulers at all, unless it's a ruler that you draw straight lines with and measure things with. That's the only kind of a ruler that we need. We don't need rulers that dominate anything. And I sure as hell don't want to tell anybody what to do. But I would like to get everybody on the same page to say we want a world that works. I would like to get everybody on that page. My cousin, my family, my friends, and people that I haven't even met yet that are friends that I don't know, or friends that I only know online. I went way over. I'm 21 minutes already. And I don't know how many more videos I'm going to do on Swissindo other than ones that I hope to do with some of the Swissindo delegates. And there may be other delegates that I'd like to have conversations with as well. And by the way, just so that you know, Aristo is not a delegate. I don't know. Peter Van Runt is and has been, and he's the one that invited me to become a delegate. Although many people in the delegation already knew me when I became a delegate because of my videos. In any case, I hear you, you that have concerns, you that have questions. I have some concerns and questions myself because I want it to be real. I want to see the proof. And I don't know what it's going to take, but I hope it comes quickly. I don't want to wait till 2015 or 2017 or 2045 or 2067 or anything far off in the future. I want it ASAP. I want the world to work for you, for me, for everyone. Thank you for listening. Namaste.